You know who?
You can't
no.
just-
You know who would beat Kratos in a fight? Harrison Ford, all day long. He's
I
got the
could
whip.
see that, actually.
He's got the gun. He's got a plane that
Talking
people
nonsense.
get off of.
He makes people get
I
off.
raise you. I see you, Harrison Ford. I raise you, Nicolas Cage.
No. What?
Welcome everybody to another episode of Multiplayer. I am your host, sick as hell, Guillermo Dorado, and with me today are Zach Matscanis.
Ew, gross. You're
I'm
gross.
sorry. I
Cut
don't
it out.
feel good.
Calm
But
down.
I'm here for the fans.
That's all right. He has some emergency. That's like, it's a cure-all
It's-
or something.
I hope.
All right, anyways, what up?
And then over here is also Javier Ortiz.
Don't say my name, you'll get me sick.
Say my name, say
Is
my
that how it
name.
works?
Yes, that's how it
That's
works.
how I win you back. Just sing that song. Guys, welcome everybody. If you're listening to this on podcast, thank you. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, thanks.
The end.
That's really much about it, guys. You know why you're here, and we're welcome to have you back. Also, you should check out our Patreon page because that exists, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Guys, I just want to jump into the show right now because here's the deal.
Let's go.
Let's
Here's
do it,
the
baby
deal.
boy.
We are right at the end of this. Thanks.
Say it to my face.
Yeah, we're right at the end of this year, and like Christmas is right around the corner. Everyone's getting ready with their decorations and their hot cocoa. And
We're in the middle of Hanukkah right now.
right now. Oh, that's right. Wait, right now or like right?
No,
then?
right now.
Oh.
I think.
That's that scene from Spaceballs. Anyways, what I kind of want to talk about though is because we're right at the end of the year, I kind of want to go through a couple of things concerning, some of the things that the industry is making, some things that are coming up in 2018. But at the end of the show, I want to talk about how we felt about this year and what we think is going to come on the horizon next year.
Horizon? Zero Dawn?
One Dawn. It's the
Zero Twilight.
The sequel, One Dawn.
Zero Dusk.
Actually, that's not a bad.
Horizon
it's
Zero
right in
Dusk.
First is Night School Studios. They have a new game. They are the creators of Oxenfree, which was a huge indie hit this year. They are actually coming out with a new game called After Party, which is also a point-and-click adventure. Man, seriously, you guys got to give me a little bit of leeway
Nah,
here.
just limp through this.
I'm like off of like NyQuil right now. Like I'm just like working off the fumes.
Yeah,
Here we
stick to Dayquil.
Yeah.
That's your problem.
You're not even taking medicine. You've literally been drinking whiskey for all day. That's not NyQuil. No matter who says that. It's After Party, and like the really cool plot of this game is essentially that you play the characters Milo and Lola, who are like lifelong friends, and they end up dying together. We don't know how exactly, but when they come to, they realize that they have passed in the afterlife, but they found themselves in hell. They don't understand why they are in hell with all these other murderers and criminals and whatnot, but they quickly find out that there is a loophole to getting back out of hell and getting a second chance on Earth, and that is only through beating Satan in a drink-off.
They probably died from like alcohol poisoning or something.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's just a fever dream. This is them dying. Like that's the whole game. Like they're like having that whole like fit. No, but essentially it's like it's an interesting kind of like a premise for a point and click adventure game. Like because especially coming from off of their last game Oxenfree, which is kind of like a coming of age tale. Now we have like this 21-year-old something like up and at 'em fucking. This is college life,
Going
It also
against the
se-
man.
It sounds
Yeah.
like a weird point-and-click adventure game, and more like a game with like a lot of quick time events and stuff.
That's the thing. It's not though. It's still point and click because you can still like determine because like what the whole like crux of the game is. You're going around to different like bars and like all these like really cool seedy neon like fucking
In hell?
In hell, yeah, it's super dope. It looks
That
really
sounds kinda cool.
The art direction's really awesome. Like the art direction kind of meets like like the Gorillaz, like that band, that style of art.
yeah.
It like that mixed with
Game.
Grim Fandango. It like mixed with Grim Fandango. Yeah. You put that in a bottle and you shake it up, But
That's cool, Grim Fandango.
yeah, it's
That's
like
a
that
really
with the
cool
Gorillas like style art. Like like all the characters don't have eyes. It's just like
Yeah, it's
whole.
black.
It's
Well,
really
there
it's
were
really, really
skeletons.
cool.
That would explain.
They're not skeletons though. Like everyone in hell is
kinda
either a
weird.
demon or a human,
Huh.
in like some like a way, shape, or
human
form.
demon?
But anyway, so you go through hell and you go through all these different like these clubs and these like bars and stuff. And you're trying to find a way to get into Satan's like VIP party to even get him to challenge him to a drink off. They have to get there first.
Yeah.
And so like when you are in these bars, you can like kind of each bar has its own like kind of microcosm of like society. Like this one's like a dive bar, this one's like a club. Like so each one is a different experience, and some have like karaoke, but like you go to these different demons and you like talk to them, you try to gain their trust or try to get information out of them to get to that bar, and depending on what you drink, because there's two halves of the dialogue wheel. There's the dialogue choices up here, and the bottom half is what you're drinking. And depending on what you drink determines on what dialogue choices you actually get or what story.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so it's like if you're drinking something that gives you like liquid courage, then you like become much more like savvy and you like find out a way to get into these groups. Or if you drink something that like, you know, maybe makes you fearless, you know, like just like start chugging beer and you're like, I'm gonna jump off the bar or whatever, you know.
It wasn't to this extent, not even close, but there was a little touch of that in what's that, Catherine, that game Catherine?
Yeah, that's actually one of the games that's referenced in this, in the article I read. Yeah, they were like, it's like there's not a lot of games that do like this kind of bar vibe, and Catherine was one of them. There was one other, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was. But it's really interesting that they're taking this kind of approach, and like the way the tone is through the article that I read that was with the developer. He was saying it's like Rick and Morty meets Superbad meets Beetlejuice meets Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure, and I was like, you had me at hello.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, so I was like, this seems really cool. The art direction, the art style
Seems
is really, really
Seems like a cool
interesting.
story.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Oxenfree was a huge hit to begin with too. So like, I don't know. This game is something to look forward to in 2018. I'm like really excited because again,
They've
already
definitely
talked.
announced this coming out next year.
Yeah, it has absolutely. And the thing is too that we talked in the show about point and click adventure games and how they were like starting to die off and stuff. So it's kind of cool to like see this, and especially like this interesting, unique way of doing it.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I like it.
I dig it, yo.
It sounds alright.
guys
It sounds
excited for it?
interesting. Yeah.
You know, the first thing it made me think of was the South Park episode of where Satan has the super Sweet 16 party.
Oh yeah,
And he has a
that's
VIP
such a good
area.
episode.
Yeah.
He's like dressed like Britney Spears.
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. You ever saw
Oh
that?
yes, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's the first thing I
No,
thought
it's
of.
my party. I want what I want. An Acura.
An accurate cake.
Yeah, an Acura cake.
Boy, I don't think I've seen this episode in a long
Oh
time.
man, it's a good episode.
He was getting a Ferrari cake, but they couldn't make it in time. So I can't remember the characters they had.
It
like
was the three
Stooges.
murderers, but there was the three serial killers. It was Jeffrey Dahmer.
Like making a
It's
cake.
slowly coming back to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Anyways,
Anyway, that's actually in the game. That was one of the things they also referenced in the article. They're like that
an
specific
Acura
scene.
cake.
Yeah, that specific scene from
No, it
South
wasn't.
Park.
Shut up.
No, it's
Yeah, shut up. Don't toy with my emotions.
But no, like the thing too about like 2018 is I think that we're going in like a really interesting, route, and it's because of games like Hellblade, and I'll explain why this makes sense.
Always back
It
to
always
Hellblade.
It
comes
always
back to
does.
Hellblade.
Man. Every load reads to Hellblade. That's
From
how
hell
the
to
saying goes,
Hellblade.
right?
Every load, yeah.
Every
That's pretty
load.
weird.
I said every road.
You said load.
It's Freudian slip. Anyways,
Every load.
so
We'll just leave it right there.
So Take Two, that publisher that is responsible for like the BioShock series, is responsible for Rockstar, all of them. They are
That tiny little indie group.
this is super tiny. They're kind of starting to follow this interesting trend in suit. Like EA is doing this as well, but they have decided, Take Two, to make a new branch that is involved with about 5 different studios, and have them lead on independent games, and like that's what their major focus is on. Games that are like $500,000, and that's their budget, and like it's really trying to figure out ways to utilize that budget to its utmost, potential through like creative means, and like really making a game as good as it can in the way that Hellblade did.
Yeah, and it seems like a. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
cut you
no,
off.
go.
Oh, so
it
gentlemanly. That's really nice.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, should we like have a duel over it? Yeah, who's gonna go?
Would definitely probably get more views. Like, did you see that episode of Multiplayer? One of them died
Snuff film.
just to say he thought that indie games were cool. It was weird.
That podcast show is awesome.
Fuck death metal. This shit is. Anyways, continue.
Anyways, oh gosh, what was that? Oh yeah, it seems like all the big developers are kind of starting to have these like sort of smaller indie branches. You know, EA has it with like, you know, they have like the game A Way Out that's coming out next year. They had like I'd say maybe a smaller, lesser extent, games like Unraveled, you know, came through EA, and obviously
That's
like
a great game.
Ubisoft has like Ubi Arts, which did like what's that that RPG?
Yeah, that one.
That one.
RPG.
Child of Light.
Yeah.
It's like they had that, and obviously the Rayman games, and you know, kind of these things on like a smaller budget, but something that, you know, you could really pump a lot of kind of love and creativity into. And you know, I think the you know, these bigger developers, they can see where it's like, oh, so if obviously they have their huge titles, they have their Battlefronts and Call of Duties and all that, but
Sure.
they could go and they can put maybe $500,000 or whatever into a smaller project and still get like a pretty good amount back from that, because it's like it's a much smaller development, but with the tools that are accessible to developers now, you can make such an amazing game on a much smaller budget and a smaller time frame. And it's like Hellblade's a great example where it's like you look at that game and it's just
every load.
like literally
Every load.
audience every load audience. It's like, dude, if you've
loads.
not gone and looked at that game, go look at the first 5 minutes. It'll blow your mind how good that game looks. That looks like Naughty Dog made that game and it took them 8 years.
Yeah.
It's like that game is gorgeous. But that was like, I think maybe a 4-year game for them. But I think it was a fairly small team, and
Oh, it was
obviously
extremely small. It was like 22 people.
yeah. I think it was
There's
definitely less
one
than
guy
30.
who was responsible for the entire
Yeah.
landscape.
And it's like, and their main actress is their video editor.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like it's a small team, but that game looks and sounds and plays just amazingly well, and it's like what they can pull off in a few years with a small budget and a small team. It's just, I mean, it's insane. It's just like on the film side now. It's like, we could go out with the cameras that we have at our disposal and make a feature and make it look
Or make
phenomenal.
like video game related sketches.
I know, or
Maybe.
2018. But it's just like that. Technology has made costs come way down on a lot of things.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
My only thing is like with big time, like EA publishers or Take-Two.
Take-Two.
Yeah, so with them creating these divisions, at what point does it seem like less of an indie game? Because they're backed by huge developers. So
Well,
like, what's
I mean,
the
that's the
definition
same.
of indie
I
game?
think the definition of indie game is these small teams of like under 30, under 50 people.
So it has
with
to have
a
like
micro budget, which micro is relative to
Right.
yeah.
millions of dollars. Is
It's like an
half a
indie
million.
film. It's
Right,
like, well, what's an
exactly.
indie film?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you
It's still
could,
going to be published, and like even indie games, they still need to find publishers that are going to put them out there. But I think what defines an indie game is just small teams, small budget, and I guess
Well, like,
creative.
But like, at what point? Like,
Yeah,
does
I think
does a term like small? $500,000 is still $500,000.
Well, I think this is. Remember we talked about like the whole like indie, the spectrum. We were talking about like we have our AAA games, we have our indie
Right.
titles, and we have the
AAA indies.
yeah, triple indies.
yeah, I think
Triple
the
indies.
old triple indies. Yeah, it's the term is definitely like. I was actually listening to another podcast about this because they were talking about how they used to have like a indie game of the year award, and they're like,
Right.
well, what do we define as an indie game?
Yeah.
nowadays?
Oh, so
it's
that is a conversation that's happening.
yeah, because
Okay.
it's like
I would
you
imagine
think
it has
about
to, 'cause-
you
I
think
mean,
about
yeah,
it, it's
it's
like
definitely-
so. What's an indie game? You got things like
Because you got guys backed by like EA, and then you have like when Shovel Knight came out.
Yeah, it's like,
just Yacht Club Games, which
that's
what?
what
is that?
or like the
Kickstarter.
dude that made Braid. It was like in his house. Like in his
Yeah,
back, it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
one dude.
Or
yeah.
Cuphead's literally 11 people, and they, but then they were backed by Microsoft. So it's
Right.
like, are they still indie? It's like
Yeah.
they're getting fat Microsoft money.
Yeah,
but
it's like
still
at what
just
point do you sell out, man?
yeah, that's really the question.
But then you think
Fuck,
about.
are you even anymore?
Yeah, I think
You fucking changed, man. You used to be cool. You used to be like,
sold
oh,
out
man.
to
Yeah.
the man.
The minute I started a garage, now you're like in your studio.
the minute you could say that to a film, you go to or a game where you go to the game's house, and you're like, I don't even know who you are.
You sold out.
Cuphead, all you are is just strung out on crack all
Yeah,
day.
he's
You're like, you're just doing
you go to
cocaine.
his-
Who are
You
you?
go to his place, it's just gold statues of himself.
He's like, you don't know me.
Just piles
Like,
of
fucking-
cocaine.
Guys, we're getting off topic. No, but so yeah, I mean, like, I think this is definitely a trend that's going to continue into 2018 with Take-Two and EA and everybody like kind of following suit. Like, oh, Hellblade did well. All these little indie developers did really well. Let's go ahead and funnel some money into
Yeah.
that whole situation and make our own independent games. I think.
It's like,
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think that now the line is starting to get blurred a little bit
Yeah.
with that whole situation of like what is really an indie game. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that I'm glad that there isn't so much of a gap anymore. Like now that we're like, it really what it is giving these small, because these studios that Take-Two is taking, for instance, are small studios that they kind of like adapted essentially. In the way that what's their name? EA took on they closed Visceral and took on who? Who was that?
It starts in R.
Shit,
Reykjavik.
It was the
that's a
people that
city
make
in Iceland.
Titanfall,
Yeah.
right?
Respawn.
Respawn. There you go.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah, so it's like these were independent studios that were then like adopted by a larger studio. For instance, like in Take-Two, it's the people who did the Kerbal Space program that are based out in Mexico City. You have like the studios such as The Outsiders. You have V1. V1 Interactive is a studio founded by the co-creator of Halo. Like these have like large backing forces behind them. These big names in these studios adopted them, and now they're making their own thing. But they're still remaining these small studios based in their own countries.
What I hope is that even if EA or Take-Two or whatever publisher or developers take on these smaller teams, that while they may be in charge of their budget, like hopefully they let them let them have their creative freedom to make what they make.
Yeah, hopefully so. I think like Microsoft did a great job with Cuphead and working on that project. Like I listened to a whole interview with the guys behind Cuphead, and they're just like, yeah, Microsoft was great. They just like they were completely hands off. All they were doing was basically just like writing checks, and that was it. That's literally all they did.
Then it should stay that way. Like that's how it should stay with indie games. You know? But when you have EA involved, you never know what the hell they're gonna do. Well, why don't you implement a loot
online
system?
multiplayer?
Yeah.
For Cuphead.
I like your point and click adventure, but what if we had? Like
it was like, an FPS.
This was point and buy.
Well, that was
purchase.
That's what kind of happened. There was a story that happened not too long ago, and that with what's that game called? Plants vs Zombies.
Right.
So that was like an indie game.
I love that
game.
It's a good one.
It got bought by EA.
Sure.
And then they, with number 2, Garden Warfare, there was EA wanted to implement a bunch of loot crate stuff, or play to win kind of stuff, and the guy that developed that game, like the guy, it was literally like his idea. He loves Plants vs Zombies, and when they told him about all this and how they wanted to implement it, he's like, I don't want any of that in these games, and they ended up letting him go, along with like a bunch
really?
of,
Well, you're fired.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't want you.
And so he lost the rights to his own game to EA.
That sucks.
And now he's off doing something else. And that guy came like, because that came from like a third party source sort of telling that story.
Sure,
and then that I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head.
I think it came from someone named Deep Throat.
That's
a very blurry picture.
But he came back and he said it wasn't, he wasn't let go because of that, but it seems like there's a little bit of truth in that story somewhere with, because I think EA was going through a restructuring.
Like, you need to change this, or
yeah,
we're going to murder your game.
Yeah, they ended up letting
him
him go just because of that, like the loot crate and play to win kind of stuff they wanted to add to the second game.
I agree. I think that we'll see. We're going to have to really see where this trend takes into 2018. I think that we're going to see this is a beautiful moment, right? We're like right on the fucking cusp of like a tipping point, where this could either be a gorgeous opportunity for gamers or game developers and game creators to make these really interesting, original, brand new IPs with brand new like game mechanics or very inventive storytelling elements, or it could be these companies going, you know what, I see opportunity.
Money.
Exactly. So like I think 2018 is going to be a very defining year. Now that we kind of like start to think about this in this aspect, I just thought like, oh, cool. Private branch. And by the way, the branch is called Private Division. Probably should have said that a long time ago. It doesn't matter. Like
whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody's listening to this.
Right. Oh, God. They've left. They're asleep. They just use this to go to bed too. But I think that this is a very interesting and defining moment for 2018. Like, we could see something great, or we could also see something like really exploited.
Yeah.
I bet we're gonna see both.
That sucks. It's
just how things go. It's like, as companies try and push that line and figure out like, what they can and can't do that, people are going to want to pay money for.
Corporate takeover, man.
Corporate takeover. They came out of the trees.
The man.
It's the man.
They're just buying everything out, getting their man stuff.
Man.
Disney
Like,
bought Fox. It's the man.
I don't even want to talk about that, man. This is terrifying. Opportunity.
That's
a
like,
whole
we just need to get out of these monopolistic like factions, anyways. No, like I don't know. I don't want to be. I want to be hopeful for next year. Like like I wasn't.
Still a lot of good stuff coming out next year.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I want to stay that way and not like halfway through the year like get disappointed like as if I don't know like a whole slew of new EA like fuckery happens. You
Yeah,
know, like
but,
I don't want
the
that.
thing is, it's at the
always
end of the
gonna be
day,
there.
it's like, well, it's true. It will be there. It's like, they're a business. They're trying to
Sorry.
make money. They're going to figure out the best way to squeeze that money out of you. That's always going to be a
Hopefully
thing.
they've learned after this year what the shit that they've done.
Who knows?
Reinvent, retool.
You would think that they would have figured it
Yeah.
out, but they're still doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And now that Disney's even bigger, who knows what's going to happen about
It all comes
3.
back to Disney. I mean, they'll find a way to reinvent and retool what they're trying to do, which is take more money from people. And I mean, it's how they run their business. So,
So I mean, that'll always be there. But speak with your wallet, play the things you want
Yeah,
to.
there's
Not
plenty
Or
worry
of
about
hell,
that stuff.
speak with your words at this point. Like, just be wary. Always like, if you see some bullshit happening, tweet at them, because that's like the most powerful thing the gamers can do now. Like, just like let's let them know that we're here.
I
and
still
that
think the most powerful
won't
thing is
take
just
it
speaking with
laying
your
down.
wallet. It's like Battlefront 2. I wanted a really dope single player and didn't really care for the multiplayer stuff. Seems like they totally screwed that up. So I didn't buy it. Didn't care to
Yeah.
buy it. Not worried about it.
And I
I'm
think a lot of
happy.
people followed in that suit because
Yeah.
they did not sell that game well.
Speaking of disappointments and whatnot, I think that it's time, since we've already talked about how great, because it was 2017 was a great
Amazing
year.
year.
Great year for video games.
A lot of good
of
games.
excellent things to come out. And again, that's why we're kind of hopeful going in. Let's hopefully this will keep continuing on into 2018. But what I want to talk about is those moments. The best way to remember something for how great it was to remember the context and the juxtaposition, to be like, oh, this is that great because this also came out, but this overshadowed it. So basically what I want to say is, what were some disappointing things that happened in 2017, some worst games that you guys came across that helped you put into perspective how good of a year it was. Oh, we didn't have very many of those. That's good.
Yeah.
If you can do a top 3, and this could be anything from disappointments in the industry, it could be terrible games that you played, it could be
Well, I mean, the biggest disappointment for me is EA. Their handling of Battlefront 2 has been it makes no sense. The fact that you came out with Battlefront 1, people were like, what did you do? And then you came out with Battlefront 2, and they're like, why did you continue to do it? You made it worse. Stop
What are
it,
you
EA.
doing?
Battlefront 2 is coming out kill me.
Just that handling of
Mutated thing. It's it has a bunch of credit card swiping machines. Oh my god.
I feel like EA is like my cat, where my cat will be scratching something. I'm like, hey, cut that out, and then she'll look at me, and then stop for a second, and then she'll do it even harder. What are you doing? And then she scurries off
it's like
all fast.
the cat's on the table and it has a glass of water.
Yeah.
And you're like, don't you do it. Don't.
Stop.
Just keep nudging.
Yeah.
It's wow, really?
Yeah.
Did you just do that, cat?
It flips you
Time
off.
for a
You're I
beating?
didn't even know you could do that. I feed you. What is wrong with you?
Don't care.
But yeah, I
she's
mean,
just doing her cat thing. EA's doing their EA thing.
I would
Be
think
confirmed. EA's a cat.
I would think that's the biggest disappointment. And a couple other ones for me, right off the top of my head. One thing that really comes to mind: games like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Mass Effect Andromeda. How dare?
Well, Infinite didn't come out this year. Did it? It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, it came out.
It already came out?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did.
that's how bad it was.
Why?
Shit. Wow. Okay.
It came out.
I thought just the whole debacle about how terrible the art design
Well, that's
was.
what I was getting to. They.
that
Yeah.
game is ugly.
Yeah, it's bad. Chun-Li's face is oh god. But the art direction in that, and then the same thing with Andromeda. Andromeda was released and God, this. You want to talk about soulless eyes? In some characters, just
Well, that dipped into the uncanny valley. That was the huge problem of that, right?
Yeah, but then you've also had characters in background. The way they walk is they look so bad. I'm like, why did you? How can you release a game it's clearly not done?
Yeah.
And they said they had to do a
EA,
huge
man.
patch, but yeah, it's true. I guess it is EA.
I-
Oh my god, I didn't
I
realize
hope-
that. But
and I hope-
BioWare, but
Yeah,
matter,
but at the
apparently.
end of the day,
still.
it's EA. Hey, gotta get this out the door. Gotta get
Yeah,
it out
but,
the door. And it's just people rushing
unfinished,
developers.
and it just
you know?
looks sloppy and Andromeda and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, just the way they looked was just bad, and Infinite also, they got rid of some of the things that were cool about the previous Marvel vs. Capcom games, the ultimate attacks with all the characters coming in with assists and stuff. They got rid of that. So it's like
Why did they get rid of that?
they
It was good.
they like tried to
That's why.
but like they try to make it like more like friendly for newcomers. Like you could just pick it up and play, and it's not that hard, and it's
That's
just
not Marvel vs.
yeah, it's not
Capcom.
that good, and I mean just but the art direction's the worst.
All right, well, that's 2. What's your third one? Do you have a third one off the top of your head?
Yes, actually, I had this one ready. So this one isn't like terrible, but for me, I did not like it because I did not think it was worth the price, and that was Ultimate Street Fighter 2 for the Nintendo
I thought you
Switch.
liked that. I thought you were
I
a
did
huge
like
fan.
it. I
Okay.
love Street Fighter 2. That game's not worth $40. First off,
gotcha,
That is
gotcha,
not a
gotcha.
$40 game at all.
Yeah, it's
This
just
is for the Switch you're talking about.
Yeah, the Switch.
It's Street Fighter 2,
It's Street
you know?
Fighter 2. Like it's not worth $40. And like they try to like soup it up with like this Hadouken mode where it's like first person, you're just shooting Hadoukens. It's stupid. It's dumb.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it's another game mode in it. It's really dumb. But the point is like you're selling me a game. First off, when the Switch came out, that was one of the biggest complaints is like, well, the Switch is just a port machine. And like hindsight, of course, now it's got great games. But
Sure.
like back then when it first came out, it was all ports. So you bring a game like Ultra Street Fighter 2, just like, all right, I like Street Fighter 2. I don't like it $40 worth though. Like it's
I don't like it that.
like that is not a $40 game at
Sure.
all. Like
If
it
they're gonna
should
charge
be.
that, like put some more characters.
Well, like
in
a,
it.
Yeah.
a SNES Classic that has Street Fighter 2 is
Exactly.
$79.99.
80, yeah, 80
Yeah,
bucks.
and not to
So
mention
it's
I
like-
have Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo at home. But like, like at least add a couple more characters or maybe make it a bundle like Street Fighter 2 and maybe another Street Fighter game. Like, just you could soup it up a little more than just regular game and then this stupid Hadouken
So, like,
mode.
think
which is
about like
dumb.
2018 they're coming out with the 30th anniversary collection.
Yeah.
Which has like probably 25 versions
13
of
different
Yeah.
Hadouken modes.
It's
got
literally, it's like
Hadouken.
it's every version of Street Fighter 2
You have a
and
fire
3
version.
and Alpha and 4 and
Yeah.
5. It's literally every
And that's what
single game.
I was
that's
hoping-
that's gonna be a $60 game.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
think
that
about
makes
just
sense.
Street Fighter 2
Oh,
being
I see what you're saying.
$40.
Yeah, it's stupid. And so it's, especially at that time when you're just like, well, Nintendo, you're just giving me a bunch of games that already exist and you're just putting them on the Switch, which I don't mind because I like having them on the go, but I'm not going to give you $40 for
Right.
this game. Like, it's not worth it. Not at all.
Not when you could spend $40 in loot crates
Yeah.
on
it's
any of your
way
favorite
better.
EA titles, Like,
way better.
how
I'd
do you even
rather-
have money after those games?
But yeah,
okay.
yeah, that was,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's it.
Oh, there he is. So, yeah, your top 3, like, worst games,
Yeah.
disappointments.
I know I have 2 off the top of my head. I got to think of a third one.
Waking up
but-
and looking yourself in the mirror, it does not count.
Oh.
I know, I'm
What,
sorry.
what
Was that
about,
your first 2?
What about
Like-
waking up and looking at my bank account?
Oh, man.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's a real thing. Like, Patreon.
$1 a month.
Yeah. Can help this guy self-esteem and go, woo!
For $1 a month, I could give that to my landlord, and he will laugh at me while he kicks me out.
Rip up the dollar.
And then I'll videotape it and I'll post it back for your exclusive viewing. Anyway, so your top 3.
So, first one, and it's a disappointment, but at the same time, it's I'm okay with it. Is the fact that Red Dead 2 got pushed back to 2018,
Sure,
and I'm like,
sure.
oh, man, I want Red Dead 2. But it's one of those things like, dude, any game, take all the time in the world. Do not rush your game. Just take all the time in the world. When it's done, it's done.
Right.
But man, I was really looking forward to playing that this
Oh,
year. I just want Red Dead 2
yeah.
in my life.
I thought that there was a release. Oh no, it was a release date for a trailer on September 29th. That's what I was thinking of. I was like, we
Yeah.
did a story on this.
yeah, but
I
yeah,
know
it's
we
just a
did it.
trailer.
They lied to us. Anyways,
They were like, "Psych, next year."
Dumbass, take it away.
Second thing off the top of my head that I was.
What it is.
Do you? Go ahead, take a guess.
mine's
Is it
number 9.
Is it your... What?
Was that this year?
No.
You're all over
You guys
the
are
place.
still
2 years
salty about
ago.
I was gonna guess that one of
20?
your biggest disappointments was the Last of Us 2 trailer, the second one.
No, it wasn't like a huge disappointment. It was fine.
You didn't
Man,
like
that was a
it?
good year.
It's like-
That's like your top 2, like your second.
Yeah,
It
top
was a good
disappointment.
year though. That's the thing.
I mean, it's
Right.
just, it was an okay trailer. I mean, it's like I didn't like it, but it wasn't anything. I was like, yeah.
Tell how it is, man. You hated it.
I mean, you were pretty. You
You
adamant
flipped this
about it.
table. Man, that's a heavy
Yeah,
table.
we have it
I
on
just-
footage. I don't
I
remember.
beat
You blacked
Nick
out
for, like,
afterwards.
hours.
Yeah.
I would say one of my oh no, I got 3 now.
Oh, that was just stalling. That's what we were doing. We're just stalling. Okay.
So one disappointment for sure was at the very beginning of the year. I don't think if my time frame is accurate, anyway, yours is all over the place. I don't know about mine. I was pretty positive, like Cuphead. They hadn't announced like the platforms yet. Like they hadn't announced like Microsoft was backing them heavily.
This year?
Yeah, like at the very, very beginning of the year.
That was announced like last year.
It might have been
Because we've been.
but
I'm like.
I've been
almost
disappointed for a
certain-
while. It was only coming to Microsoft.
You
It's
guys
like, I
suck
want that
at
on-
this.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
You know what happened in 2017?
Well, I can tell you definitely one definite one for sure.
Okay. What
You
is
ready?
that one? What is that one?
Spit it out.
So, Super Mario World just came out. No, I'm just kidding. So, I was super excited for Splatoon 2,
Okay.
and I played it.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
I thought about that
Sure.
one earlier too.
I was so I love the first Splatoon, and not to say that Splatoon 2 is bad in any way, but I gotta say
Fuck that game.
you suck!
Yeah.
I was hoping that Nintendo would just hurry up and get their online infrastructure right. And they're
Yeah,
just
that
still
was really-
all
I think
over
that's
the
an
place.
overall disappointment.
Yeah,
Nintendo's
but-
online infrastructure.
Yeah. And
Well,
hopefully
that's
they'll
something
fix
good
it.
that we're anticipating for next year. Oh
Yeah,
shit! I
that's
forgot
one
about
of my
that, too.
opinions for looking ahead. But
Okay.
or one of my
We'll get there.
Well, we will
Yeah.
get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
All right. I'm gonna tell you this
We'll
rest
get
of
there.
the episode. Okay, man. It's like they just
but yeah,
evolved.
let's do that for like 45 more minutes.
Yeah. No, please no.
But yeah, I was so looking forward to that game, and
Yeah.
I just I want to sit down and play that with my friends. I want to sit
You should have
down.
clapped. I want to sit down. Like just
I
like,
want to sit down and play that with my friends. How many syllables is that?
so many.
But they make it so impossible. I'm like, Nintendo,
Yeah.
just get this correct.
It's so hard to
please.
get online friends with the Switch.
Yeah, it's like
really
you know what? Like Overwatch is amazing because I could sit down and I could just like hit up my friends and I could just play a game.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
And you
It's
can
like,
meet people online and become friends.
Yeah, it's like that's how I like all
That's how
the
friendship
people
works.
Yeah. That's a community.
It's like
Community. Nintendo. Do you hear what I'm saying?
it's seriously, it's like some of the like people that I spend like hundreds of hours with, or people like I've never met them, but like I've been playing with these people for years. It's just strangers I met online, and
There's also like
depending-
technical issues too about Splatoon 2. Like the whole map thing. Like
Yeah.
it worked with the Wii U.
Yeah, that was
Right,
the other
right.
thing.
Having like the map display
Yeah,
on the Wii.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't work
because
with the
you can see it,
Switch.
yeah.
You're just like, I don't know where I'm going.
I really wish I could use the Switch like the Wii U gamepad and be able to use it as a second screen because
Yeah.
man, that made Splatoon 2 or Splatoon 1 so much better than Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
It's like when I played Splatoon 2, I was like it just does not feel as good without that map. It's like you need that map on the screen because it's like that's it. You can control where your character's going. Your squid can do like big jumps and stuff like that. And it's like you can't.
This is so Nintendo.
You have to like.
This is so Nintendo. Your squid can do big jumps. You need to know where you're inking.
You know where all the ink
Yeah,
is.
I mean it's just you got to pull up a map now. It's just
Yeah.
it doesn't feel as good.
Well, yeah, I completely forgot about that, man. I guess they like really like brushed that under the rug when they're like, yeah, but Zelda. You're like, oh, right. And you just like
Breath of the
completely
Wild.
forgot about that.
I can tell you another one though.
don't wanna hear it. You
Since
said
the
3.
second one didn't count apparently.
Yeah, it's true.
I was hoping
the
that-
Cuphead thing.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was hoping PUBG would be announced for PS4, and I'm kind of bummed that.
I
it's-
think that might be
it's
an
a-
exclusive thing.
Well,
like,
it is.
Just
No,
I'm saying like just like a year exclusive on Microsoft, and then it'll come to multiple.
Yeah,
platforms.
hopefully so.
I think so. I think it's.
I mean, I'm probably
it's
gonna-
way too big of a game.
Yeah,
for it to stay on
I need to
Xbox.
get Xbox. I want to get the Xbox One at some point, but
Whoa.
for now it's just. Yeah, well, I want to get it at some point. I want to play Cuphead.
Cupcake.
Cupcake.
Yeah, it's a
love
I
great game.
cupcakes.
I want to play Cuphead, and I want to play PUBG.
I can
And
tell you, PUBG was probably my disappointment for the year.
Really?
yeah, there are a lot of people
On
are. It is
Xbox
super
One.
janky.
Oh yeah,
But
that's
on the X, I've seen nothing. I've nothing but great things about the X. But on Xbox One without the X,
yeah.
You know they did that
That's
shit on
bad.
purpose.
Yeah, I heard
know
it's like
that's on
it's not
purpose.
Oh,
it's not
absolutely.
optimized at all. It's not
It's
hitting
not.
30 frames.
Absolutely
It's
not.
not.
Yeah.
For a reason.
It's-
It's like, well, you know,
it's
this
kinda
thing.
shady.
Yeah.
you'll fly in and hit a building, and you'll teleport through and then die. Like
yeah.
that's happened countless times.
Yeah, I've heard
Quick
it's
games.
just nothing but janky.
Well, okay, so for like my top 3 disappointments, like I actually chose games just to kind of keep it simple because I don't know. So number 1, I thought Outlast 2 was a pretty big disappointment. Like I was a pretty big fan of Outlast 1. It was like super dark and an interesting romp. I love horror horror games a lot. Like that's why I keep wanting to play PT with you guys. But you're like, no, it's too scary for you. You'll cry on my couch.
I invited you to come over and play the game
and
with
we
you.
didn't play it. We
making
just ended
things
up
up
talking
now.
about video games. I get it. We're personal people. We just never gonna play that game. Point is, I like them. And when I played Outlast 2, it just it seemed very nuanced. You know, it's kind of this shit that we've already seen over and over before. The story was terrible. You open up on a helicopter with this, with just tropes, these really recognizable horror tropes and terrible characters. And I was like, I didn't really feel as...
Sounds like the beginning of Dead Rising.
Sounds like the beginning of a lot of things.
You just come in on a helicopter as
bad
Frank
things.
West, saying cheesy horror
Sounds like
tropes
Predator as well, but that did it well.
I love Predator.
But so I think that would be my first one. Number 2, I guess it'd be 3 to 1, right? So that was 3. So 2 would be Observer. That the game that was made by the same publishers that did Layers of Fear, another horror game. I played a little bit of this. It starred, man, I cannot remember his name now. He's the guy from Blade Runner 1. Blade Runner 1.
Harrison Ford.
Nope, he was the bad guy of Blade Runner 1.
Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford.
What was his name?
Wasn't he still the bad guy?
Rutger Hauer. Boom. Yeah, that's what we do. We
Time
answer
to
the
get
question.
Sean Young.
Yeah. No, it was Rutger Hauer. Don't lie to me.
Sean Young.
Whatever. Anyways, Rutger Hauer was in this game.
Harrison Ford.
And it just wasn't, again, like, it felt, with Layers of Fear, like, that's not a super amazing game, but it definitely did its job in, like, keeping me immersed. But it threw you into the game immediately with no, like, it just basically, like, opened you up to the labyrinth and then went, and, like, kicked you in and slammed the door. And you're like, oh, shit. With Observer, they really try to do a more narrative style. Now, I didn't play very much this game because I was just very turned off from the very beginning. It was interesting, but it just seemed like they were really banking off of, like, Blade Runner coming out really recently and having Rutger Hauer. I'm sure that's not all it was planned to be, but whatever. So it was kind of a disappointment for me. Number 1,
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. I don't fucking care that game didn't come out this year. Fuck that game.
You're so upset by a game.
God, that game was so bad, and it looked pretty goddamn good. They did well with the Esther. I cried at the end of the Esther. That was a beautiful poem of a game. Fuck! Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. Everyone's gone away from this game because it sucks. That's what the fucking name of it
It's
should
so
be.
funny because like the game has gotten such like positive feedback. I've heard
No,
nothing
it
but
has
good
It's
not.
all a
things.
lie.
It has
Isn't it?
not.
But it has.
Yeah, maybe at gunpoint, sure. I would say that game was great if someone was threatening my life. But, God, dude, that game is that's my biggest disappointment for
we're gonna-
2018 as well. Like, that's how fucked up that
We're
game
gonna
is.
make you do a let's play of it.
Oh,
that'd be
dude,
funny.
that's the day I quit. Oh, man.
Oh, we're definitely making you do it then.
We want you to get the fuck out of here. Oh, man, I don't know. Like, anyone who's played that game, I'm not going to get super into it because I'm just going to get really mad and start sweating. But, like, the point is,
Already
like,
sweaty.
I know, I'm already getting, like, really worked up. That game is not a game. That's the problem. It's not a fucking game.
Technically.
When you just push up on a game, it's not a game. It's a fucking
PT, you just
interact. Yeah, but you know what?
See,
Fun. Like,
you get on my case when I get an attitude about like Anne Hathaway and like stupid.
that doesn't make any sense.
This doesn't make.
Why
any
do you hate Anne Hathaway? Because she kicks. What does that mean?
What do you mean? You just push up?
That's all you do. And
There's a
like,
lot of games.
okay, sure, but there's no
Tetris,
other.
you just push down.
But there is a
Left
puzzle aspect to it. This game, you push up until you find the next bit of story, which is fucking hidden, by the way. It's like, explore this town, but there's nothing in the town. And you may miss story elements, and you're following this fucking orb that's like, "Whoa!" And then you look away for, you look away for 3 seconds, and it's gone. You're like, well, I guess I have to explore all the locked doors in this fucking world. It's the worst.
That's how I feel about Anne Hathaway. That exact explanation.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, please comment on what, because he's not the only one I've heard like trash talking Anne Hathaway for no reason.
You know what that
Oh, I got my reasons.
that light
Anne Hathaway, if you're watching, which I know you're not.
She's a very nice lady, just saying. I
she
met
seems
her.
really
I never said she wasn't.
I just hate her kicks.
I just want to just
strangle.
Jesus.
give her a hug like this.
Give her a really aggressive hug.
Dude,
she
the
stops
light
breathing.
in the game though reminds me of like the opposite of the sun in Super Mario Brothers 3, where it's like angry and chasing you. This one's got a smile and leaving you. Just,
I hate that son.
see ya.
God, it's so dumb, man.
It's like, who would live in that terrifying world
I
of
know.
Mario Brothers? You got the sun is physically chasing you down,
like
trying to kill
your
you.
hat is starting to like catch on fire.
Dive bombing you.
It'd be like a nightmare world.
That's the Mushroom Kingdom's apocalypse. That's how the world ends. The sun gets pissed off. It's like, no, fuck this. Anyways, that's my biggest disappointment. I could go literally on for a long time about how terrible that game is and how it's not a game, how it's an ungame,
How it's not a
how
game.
they made a not game into a game. It's amazing, really. Honestly,
did you hear about their Anne Hathaway DLC?
no, but I was going to actually tell you about it to see if you.
She
you
kicks
just
the light
walk
away.
real slow and you just split kick things.
How is the sprint button not a sprint button? It says build up speed, and you go from to. Did you see that? I mean, people who are watching this, did you percept the change of speed? No. God. Anyways, we're continuing on. I don't want to be mad anymore. We have about 10 minutes left, okay? Here's the deal. Anticipated games for 2018, go.
Tell me.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, okay, no, I'm calm.
Uh-huh.
What are you guys excited for next year?
God of War.
Yeah. I'm dude, right?
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
Yeah,
an
God of War.
American and I'm a fan. No, God of War, Spider-Man for both Sony exclusives, by the way. Fucking dope.
Shit.
Thank you, Sean, later.
Yeah, thank you, Sean Layden, my
You were
homie.
the sole person that did responsible for this.
Those two, and wait, are these just what we're looking forward to, or are these just predictions?
No, what are you looking for? We'll get predictions in a minute.
Okay, well, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Fuck it.
That's it.
That's it?
I mean,
All right. No,
So,
good.
I
For
mean,
sake of
those are
time,
two big
your
ones.
turn. Yeah, for sake of time. Good.
Last
good.
of Us 2
So-
because it's coming out.
Oh, I know.
It's not coming next year.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It totally
It
is.
is not
It is.
coming next year. I could.
There's
I'll
the
put-
door. You check your privilege right there.
This is your house. Get the fuck out. Yeah.
So, anticipated games. Definitely look forward to God of War. I've never been a big God of War fan, but this one looks like an actual good game.
I mean,
Like-
I can understand
How dare
being
you.
tired of the franchise.
like,
I played up to
Don't-
3, and I was like, I got it.
I'm
Yeah.
just
I
not a
beat 3.
hack
I
and
beat
slash
all.
guy.
Shut up.
And
God of War 2 is fantastic. Shut up.
I don't think to be fair, and I think this is just mainly because I don't like hack and slash games that much anymore. I don't think it would live up. Have you played it recently?
Yes, and it's great. I have them on PS3.
he's playing it right now.
Wow.
I have it right
Yeah.
here.
All right. Well, then
It's a
we'll
great
have to
game.
play.
Shut up.
Okay. So okay, what else? Here?
You'd
So
be
God
great
of
in
War.
the debates.
Oh, shut up. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Shut up. But let me get a shut
Counter
up.
argument. Shut up.
You're wrong, and I
But
win.
so definitely looking forward to this God of War. I think this will be the one that finally gets me to like that series.
Sure.
Because it's not hack and slash.
That it's just the character has character now. You know, it's like it sounds like it has a story behind it. And it's like there's emotions
like-
outside of.
To an extent, he is right. I mean,
up.
there is a lot more depth, I think, in the
Man is
characters.
carrying the death of his family.
Yeah, but so is
on
every other
him.
hero. So
No,
is
it's-
Batman.
He is literally carrying this dead family. It's not a metaphor. It's literally their ashes are on his skin.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. All right, so God of War.
He's
What else?
just grumpy.
Yeah. Take a shower. You don't have to carry that shit.
Shower. Wash it up. You
Yeah,
ashy
Jesus,
bitch.
that's disgusting. There's
Ashy
lotion for a reason. I know the
Ashy
grease.
Larry.
But
Anyways.
so you know, not
up.
to be the same as this guy
Spider-Man.
that does no good games. But Spider-Man, come on, man.
Spider-Man does look really
Spider-Man looks dope.
Spider-Man looks really fantastic, guys.
And then my
I know what you're
Red
gonna
Dead
say.
2, man. Come
Oh.
on, Red
Oh.
Dead 2.
I thought you guys would be way more excited for DBZ Fighter.
Well, that's
That's like next month.
yeah.
No, it's February. So I mean, yeah, it might as well be next
Yeah.
month. It's
I thought
February.
it came out in January.
February.
Is it?
It's
I
absolutely
think it's
February.
February.
It's like 18th
Yeah.
to 21st, but it's like one right
it was
in there.
January.
But I mean, I could list more guys like DBZ,
Yeah.
DBZ
Yeah.
No,
Fighter
you're done.
and Nino Kuni 2. And
That
there's
is
a lot
actually
of,
on
like,
my top. I had never played Ni no Kuni 1, but I'm a huge fan of like that
Borrow
art
my
style.
PS3.
Huh?
Borrow my PS3, play.
Oh yeah, okay. You know what? I might have to. But apparently, I heard that they changed the combat system
Yeah,
completely.
It's,
So
yeah, it's a
There's
little
also the Yoshi game coming out for Switch. Can't wait for that.
different.
that might be a disappointment for me. I mean, like if we're gonna do predictions, that might be one of them. I hope
Well-
it is. I hope it's not. But like they have they definitely run their course of Yoshi games before. Hopefully they won't do it on the Switch, but we'll see what happens.
But
But
the Yoshi Woolly World. They did a trailer for it.
With
not Woolly World. Woolly World was,
or not. It's not called Woolly World, but it's in the vein of it's like Yoshi.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
He's made of cotton and shit.
Yeah. It's Yoshi Cotton and
Dude, the art
whatever.
direction of that game looks fantastic.
Oh, it totally does. It reminds me of Yoshi's
amazing.
story. Actually, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, it won't be.
Yeah,
terrible.
turn your ass around.
Dude, Ghost of Tsushima. I'm really excited about that. That comes out
yeah.
next year. It does.
That's forgot.
It does.
Is it? Did it have a 2018 date on it?
It does. It does.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, I'm positive, and I'm really looking forward to that too, because that looks like a really interesting open world game. There's no magic. Wait,
Yeah.
who was the one that was arguing about that
Not
last
me,
time?
'cause
Yeah, it
that's
was you.
stupid. That's this dumb guy.
What's wrong with magic?
No, it looks
Nothing, but
It's more fun.
No, but why does it have to be tied to the
because
Japanese?
it's fun.
Whatever. It looks really cool. I'm really excited about that. Ni no Kuni 2 and of course Last of Us 2, which we both think is
It
coming out.
no.
So
I will put any amount of cheeseburgers on that bet.
okay. Why is that?
Cheeseburgers?
Yeah.
I would cheeseburger bet you right now.
That's the currency in the Matt Scanis
Jesus.
household.
All right, so we only have time.
We don't make money.
We're starting to go over, so let's keep this short, okay?
All right.
I need you guys real quick, and it can only be one. I think we've only
What?
narrowed it down to one. I know you want to do top 5.
Okay.
But let's do one big disappointment that you think you're anticipating for 2018.
Big disappointment?
Yeah, what do you think?
Oh, it's not
I'm
just
sorry.
like
I'm sorry. What is your biggest prediction for 2018?
Keep touching me. What's up?
I'm
What's
just trying to
happening?
make
What's
you
your
feel
biggest
comfortable.
prediction?
Yeah. No,
I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
Your biggest prediction. Mine's actually I'm getting myself ready for disappointment. That's why I said it.
difficult. Because there's I have like 2. Can I say 2?
2, okay, fine.
All right, fine, 2. I'll go one good, one bad.
All right.
So biggest disappointment is going to be Anthem for
Wow,
the
not even
EA
on my radar. Okay.
the EA game.
Yeah,
Anthem.
yeah.
It's going to suck.
Of course it will.
That, and then my biggest happy prediction is E3 next year, Super Smash Bros. On the Switch. That's coming.
Wow.
That's coming.
Wow. Okay. It's
coming
gonna be
hard.
announced. You're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Holy shit.
Okay. So
A new one,
my
not a
God.
port.
Sure. Well, hopefully.
So, if and you know what, I'll go with a little disappointment prediction as well, since we're kind of going down that path. I think Nintendo's going to come out with their online infrastructure. Still going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's just
okay.
I think they're just still not going to be able to figure that out in
It's
2018.
rooted in historic
Yeah.
accuracy.
It's just
Like,
because
there's
it's just
definitely
gonna still be completely backwards and nonsensical, and it's just like Nintendo. Please, like I know you don't like copying people, but please, for the love of God, just look at
Halo.
like just look at Microsoft, look at PlayStation. Just literally go hire some of those guys
Yeah.
and just fix your internet. It's like it's insane. Just go
We're gonna
make
have to
it
deal with that.
easy.
You know, they
It's-
can't be throwing out all these amazing ace cards all the time, and I think that's gonna be their like, oh, that's right, this is still Nintendo
Yeah.
kind of thing.
But it's like, I think they're gonna I think it's gonna be okay, but it's still like not even close to what it needs to be.
Sure.
I think it's still gonna be cumbersome, and it's gonna be even more of a bummer that you're gonna have to start paying $20 a year for it.
Ugh.
Not that it's a lot of money,
Still.
but I think it's still gonna be
But
like.
if I'm gonna pay for it, it better be good. All right.
I know.
Number 2.
Number 2, I was you kind of stole mine, but
Smash?
but my prediction with Smash Brothers is that they're going to announce it earlier than E3, and maybe even because they're going to have a January direct. And I think they're going to announce like a couple games that are coming out, but kind of in the first half of the year. And I feel like they're going to say, oh, by the way, March or April or something, we're going to get not necessarily a port, but like kind of like they did with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think we're going to get that.
Yeah, like
where it's-
that for the Smash.
Yeah, with like maybe a couple new characters, like Squid Kids. I think might be a new character, and maybe like 2 or 3 more.
See, I
And
think
then,
they're
like-
saving that for a new game.
Huh?
I think they're saving new characters for a new game.
I just don't think.
I don't think they're
going
gonna
to
add anything.
But
We're gonna have to find out.
I think like a Smash 4 Deluxe kind of thing, like Smash Switch Deluxe or
This
something
thing,
like
Hopefully
dude.
it's
Like
not
if they
called
make a new Smash game, they're gonna add like either Squid Kids or the Arms people. Like those are their new people that
that.
they're
I
gonna
think
add.
Squid
Yeah, yeah,
Kids, like Arms, still like they're not sort of. I wouldn't call them like a permanent Nintendo.
Now there's the Wii Fit
characters.
trainer.
They're gonna add Cappy to Mario's move list. gonna be dope. It's gonna be
He's
a
gonna
new
possess
Smash.
He's gonna possess whoever he's fighting.
But yeah, I think I'm definitely thinking like
gonna be
you know
awesome.
first half of the year, like Nintendo's gonna announce and release like a a Smash Deluxe.
Yeah.
With like
Sure.
because
That
you got to
probably.
remember, Smash for Wii U and Smash for the 3DS had totally different levels. So I think they're gonna bring all the levels into one and have like maybe up to 4 new characters, and then have all the DLC characters part of it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to.
I mean, I'm totally
I
buying it, so-
agree,
Because I
minus
think
the
they-
new characters.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna add new characters.
Well, for me, I think, and I'm gonna do this pretty quickly. I'm gonna anticipate. I'm gonna like kind of hold myself off because I'm trying to not get too excited for it because I know it's gonna disappoint me. Like I just know it, and that is Detroit Become Human. David Cage's new game is gonna be terrible. It's gonna be so
I don't
bad,
think so.
dude.
Yeah, it looks
Beyond Two
cool,
Souls
man.
was so fucking bad,
got
and
Willem
I just
Dafoe.
can't handle being brought that high
But
up and then having my hopes smashed. So
I feel like they learned a lot from that game, and
Yeah.
I think
It's gonna be good.
And
he's
I've
just
already-
getting more eccentric. Like there's no putting a cage on David Cage. So, there's no cage on David Cage.
I think
Cage the
that-
cage.
Yeah.
the game.
Despite all his rage.
He's still just a rat in a cage.
Yeah, I think,
You really like that.
and I know you're just going through your predictions, but I think that like
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
no, I think like the controls and stuff will still be a little janky. 'Cause
I just
that's
think
how
I
those
think it's gonna be
games are.
totally inconsistent and it's not gonna stick with the genre and it's gonna be all over the place. That's the way that all of his games have been. You
trailer
fight
looks
the
cool,
internet
though.
in Indigo Prophecy. Enough said. Number 2, my prediction for like what I'm really hoping, I'm really anticipating it too, like for a good thing. Metroid Prime 4 is going to be released next year. Even though they have
That soon?
Even though they have a TBA. Well, it was originally announced for 2018, wasn't it?
No, they last year when they announced it, they said they hadn't even
It's like,
they hadn't even like
In
figured out who was
pre-development.
going
La,
to.
la, I want to believe it.
well, here's the thing. If that does happen, it would only make sense because this year Zelda and Mario came out, and those are like their biggest hitters. So like, what's Nintendo's next line of like, here's our big game of 2018?
Yeah, I don't know what their big game is going to be. I don't think it's going to be Metroid, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they're going to start releasing things like I said, like
I hope a Donkey
like
Kong game
Smash
comes
Bros.
out.
I mean, a Donkey Kong game would be pretty. Like, we still don't know what Retro's doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it could be like a new 3D like Donkey Kong game or something like that. Like something big and open world and crazy. Something we're not
Well,
expecting.
I hope it's
It'd be
Metroid
sweet.
Prime 4. I'm going to stick with it.
I mean, I would hope so
You're
too,
wrong.
but
Yeah, you guys are going to give me all the cheeseburgers next year when I'm right.
All right, well,
All the cheeseburgers. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our predictions and what we thought, since we've been talking all praise in 2017 on all our episodes previously. I hope you enjoy what we thought maybe wasn't the best parts of the year, because we always have to kind of put things in perspective. But
I think we're going to talk a lot about how amazing 2017 was next episode.
I think so too. Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of nostalgia.
Yeah.
it was okay.
So join us for that. We'll be back next Thursday. But guys, I wanted to go ahead and let you know that if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, thank you so much for putting your eyes on this. You can also enjoy this, though, on our podcast, which is Multiplayer, and you can find that on
iTunes and Google Play.
You can find that on iTunes and Google Play. Or if you just meditate for a long time.
Line?
And you can, and of course, if people are watching or listening to our podcast, you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/multiplayer. And again, guys, I mentioned it at the very beginning of the episode, but I want to go ahead and reiterate it here. We do have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/multiplayer, where you can help this show be bigger and better as it possibly can be by just donating a couple dollars a month. And just for one, you do get an extra video every other Friday. That's 2 extra videos a month.
Bonus round.
That's right. We talk about all sorts of crazy shit, like how Hav is
Yes.
in love with
Yes.
Kratos,
Sure.
and how Zach likes to watch.
Dislike Kratos.
Yeah, that's it. No, but we do. If you don't, if we haven't enticed you or encouraged you, what's the word I'm looking for? We haven't altered
Harrison
your mind.
Ford.
Yeah, if we haven't
He's
record
the
how
bad
your
guy.
mind by now. No, but if you can still enjoy all of our stuff. You can still enjoy all of our stuff for free on our YouTube channel, and also those bonus round episodes are only exclusive for 1 week on
Belongs in a
Patreon
museum.
before they go. Are you just quoting Harrison Ford movies now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you guys get it. Go visit our page. You can read all the information there. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Guillermo Dorado, Zach Matzcanis, Javier Ortiz. Let's tell them where they can find you. I'm gonna start reverse now. Where can they find you?
It's Twitter and Reddit. I'm at multiplayered.
Boom, Zach Matzcanis.
At Zach Matzganis, ZACKMATZGANIS.
Harrison Ford.
But yeah, Harrison Ford. You can also find me on my personal Instagram page at Guillermo_Dorado and on Twitter at Masdorado. And you can also follow everything that we've talked about and also see behind the scenes of stuff at our Twitter and Instagram page for Multiplayered at GoMultiplayered.com. You can also follow
At Go Multiplayered. No
What did I
dot
say?
com.
What did I say? .com?
You said .com.
Damn it! It was so good. So good for a second.
Follow us at Harrison Ford.
You can also follow Mick, who is our resident Xbox player, and you already met him a couple episodes ago, at Mick to the Wood on both Instagram and Twitter. And you can also follow Nathan Redfern, or Nath Redfield, depending on who you ask, which he will be on the show also very soon. I fucking promise. You can follow him at Multiplayered Nath on Twitter. So guys, thank you so much. Special thanks to DJ CUTMAN. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom!
That delicious, beautiful man.
Yeah, thanks for the chiptune music. If you also want to hear more of the
Thanks,
stuff
baby.
besides the intro music that we have here and also the outro music that we're doing on the show, you can also find his stuff at his SoundCloud or at his actual just web address, which is DJCutman.com.
HarrisonFord.com.
Wow.
I want you
His
to feel
web address.
Go to
Is this 1998?
sick.
double
I'm
W.
having fever dreams.
www.com/forward.
That's literally why I took that long pause, because I almost said www. Guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and we will see you at the respawn. So keep grinding, whatever the hell my phrase is. I'm sick. See you later.
Get off my plane.
And have happy holidays.
Oh yeah! Wait, no!
We'd like to give a big ol' special thank you to Jaden Lawrence, Arturo Madeira, and Murcha Dan Kropatariu. If you want to receive shout-outs like these awesome, beautiful people, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayered. See you next time, players.